Gardening to the Standards. This presentation will show you how you can use gardening to teach reading, math, and science effectively in your classroom. Let's start with the obvious one, science. Every grade has science standards connected to gardening through earth and life sciences, in addition to the characteristics and nature of science standards. And students are supposed to learn by doing and not just by reading a textbook, and that's gardening. So, for example, kindergarten studies the parts of a plant, and there are the standards for it. First grade studies weather, something very important to gardening. Second grade studies life cycles of plants and animals. Third grade studies soils and ecosystems. Fourth grade studies food webs and weather, again something you can do actively, hands-on in the garden. Fifth grade studies scientific taxonomy and cells, another great gardening topic. Let's look at math, because math also ties in with gardening for those Common Core math standards for all grades. There are too many connections to go into here, so let's just look at a few examples for each grade. Kindergartners could count the number of leaves and flowers on each tomato plant stem, and then how many tomatoes each plant produces, comparing the number of flowers to the number of tomatoes. First graders can compare the heights of those same tomato plants, taking pictures of the plants beside a ruled rod. Second graders can create pictographs depicting how many of each plant they're growing, or a Venn diagram comparing aspects of different plants. Third graders can calculate the area and perimeter of each square of the garden and of the garden as a whole. Fourth graders can weigh their produce in both the customary and metric systems, keeping track of the total weights the garden produces all season. And fifth graders can calculate how many seeds need planting, assuming given sets of failure rates for germination and production. So for example, if you want 20 pounds of tomatoes and 15% of your seeds fail, how many seeds should you plant? Reading, writing, and English language arts also works well with gardening. The intelligent gardener researches and learns not because the teacher assigned a book report, but to engage in logical problem solving. Let's take a look at kindergarten. They can describe the connection between two ideas in a gardening book. If lettuce is ready to harvest in 2 weeks and the seeds take 2 weeks to grow large enough to transplant, so what do? First graders can use the table of contents in a book to locate information on a specific gardening question they have. Second graders can connect the steps in planting seeds using gardening reference books. Third graders can describe the cause and effect relationship between soil pH and growth rates of specific plants based on their book research and soil acidity testing. Fourth graders can research ways of dealing with garden pests and summarize their findings for their classmates. Fifth graders can similarly research differing advice on dealing with garden pests and explain how the writer's point of view influences their position. Does bobcat urine really keep pests away? Beyond the core subjects, though, students need thinking skills and to grow as thinking people, and gardening is an excellent medium for teaching these essential skills in a meaningful, real-life, hands-on, heads-on way. Just reading the back of a seed packet teaches research skills. You need to read that packet to grow the plants correctly. Critical thinking and logic problem solving come into play when you ask the question, why are tomato plants withering and turning yellow? Creative problem solving might be necessary when you don't buy ties to secure the tomato plants to the supports. You have to figure out another way to do it. Affective skills, how students get along with each other when they're fighting over whose turn it is to plant and whether they want to pull weeds or not, and whose turn it is to use the tools. Communication skills are essential to demonstrate what they learned and share their gardening techniques with students at other schools, which they can do in a variety of ways. Remember, gardening grows plants and children. So in conclusion, gardening tasks align with GPS content area and Common Core academic standards. Now that you know all this, go grow something!